How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be doing a fuel mileage video on the F450 loaded. We're going to be towing a 44-foot toy hauler from Orlando, Florida up to Pennsylvania. Weighs about 14,000 pounds. A lot of you guys like the empty fuel mileage we did from Pennsylvania down to Florida. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the little notifications. And as always, if you have any ideas for future videos, be sure to drop it in the comments section, and we'll do our best to make one. So let's go ahead and get filled up, and then we'll get going here. So we just got fueled up. We're gonna reset our both trip meters. We'll keep tracks of the whole trip overall, and then each increment of the trip. Go ahead and reset. I already reset trip 1. We'll go ahead and reset trip 2 also. And traffic for about a half hour the whole way through Orlando. Just getting ready to open up here, and then we're gonna try and run about 5 miles over the speed limit the whole way home. Just got cleared out of traffic. We're running about 70 mile an hour. Our trip showing 9.7. I reset this back when we filled up. Traffic cleared out now just north of Daytona. We're running 80 mile an hour. We've been running about like this for probably about 10 minutes now. My miles per gallon really dropped about a half a mile per gallon whenever we kick the speed up. But we're just gonna keep running and see how it runs here, and get our fuel mileage specs.
35B onto I-95 North.
So we're down to 80 miles to empty. We're about to make a long trek across 26 where there's not many fuel, so I'm gonna stop and get fuel now. We went a total of 278.2 miles. We'll see how much fuel it takes. So we're all filled up here. Took 32.498 gallons. I need to put some DEF in also, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So what I almost used a full half a tank of DEF fluid. Just coming up out of Florida. We was running mainly about 70 mile an hour, I would say on average. We sat on a lot of traffic, stop and go traffic down around Orlando and up around Jacksonville. So we was a lot under power, a lot accelerating, decelerating. So I think that's where most of my DEF fluid got burned up at. If you watched the video last week right here, we was not pulling a trailer on the way down, and I only burned about a quarter tank of DEF fluid the whole way from Pennsylvania down to Florida. And just these 300 miles or so, I already burned up almost a half of the tank. So we're filling up on this, and we'll see. Hopefully we can make it clear back to PA. If not, we'll have to fill up on DEF again. So we went a total of 278.2 miles, and we used 32.497 gallons. And that comes out to just over 8.5 miles per gallon. We're gonna go ahead and reset it, and we'll start the second portion of the trip. We've been in heavy traffic. Been running got the cruise set at 75, but we've only been able to run about 66. You're not allowed to drive trucks in the left-hand lane in Georgia. Finally got out of traffic here. We're about halfway between the state line and 26 on 95 in South Carolina. Bumped it up to trying to maintain 75 here now that we're out of traffic. So we found a campground here in between Charlotte or Columbia and Charleston. It's called Sweetwater Lake Campground. We're gonna stop here and sleep for the night and get up in the morning and head back out. So we just got back on the road here. We're about 60 miles east of Columbia. We're gonna run over to Columbia and shoot up 77. We decided last night we're gonna stop at Carowinds on the amusement park, but at the campground. We're gonna stop there for a night. My wife's sister lives in Charlotte, so we're gonna go over and see her tonight and then head on up 77 tomorrow. We're pulling in Flying J. We're gonna fill up. I'm down to 57 miles to empty. So we're here at Pilot. One thing I always use is this Howes lubricator. We've been using it in my family for about 20 years. It's got an anti-gel property, plus it helps extend the fuel range and lubricate your injectors. One bottle treats about 300 gallons. If you watch my other fuel video, we run this every time. I used about this whole container between the trip down and the trip back from Florida. So we dump that in first and then go ahead and start filling your diesel up. We used a total of 35.839 gallons. We'll go ahead and do the calculation and figure what we got up for fuel mileage. So we went 276.9 miles and we used 35.839 gallons. That averages out to 7.73 miles per gallon on the second leg of the trip. We're gonna start into the third leg now. We're about 20 miles south of Charlotte. And then once we get through Charlotte, we're gonna get into hilly terrain. Now I'm gonna try something different here. On the way, on the other fuel mileage video I have on the way to Florida, when we wasn't pulling a trailer, I was running an eco mode the whole time. That cuts your torque back, but I am gonna try running in normal mode and see what it does. See if maybe we could pick up a little bit better fuel mileage. We'll see what happens. So we just got off here. We're at the we're pulling into the Carowinds campground at the Carowinds Resort here in Charlotte, in North Carolina. Carowinds is right on the South Carolina, North Carolina border. So we're pulling out of Carowinds Camp Wilderness. We're gonna get back on the road. We filled up right before we stopped the other day. We'll see what kind of fuel mileage we get and go from there. Like I said, we're just running in normal mode. We're gonna see if it makes a difference on the fuel mileage. Just got into Virginia here. Been running about 80 the whole way out of Charlotte. We just got off the rest area though. My trip meter showing 9.5 average. We're at the foothill of the Appalachian Mountains here. We're going to start our way up. Just crossing to Virginia. This is that big hill coming up out of the North Carolina state line into Virginia. Took about, I was running easy. It took about probably about a good mile and a half to get up to speed, but it finally got up to speed and set to cruise at 70, and we're in 10th gear just cruising. You can see my transmission temperature's up to about 223 right now. It's a little higher than normal, but other than that, everything else seems good. Just stopped to get fuel here. We went a total of 286.9 miles. Let's see what it takes here for fuel. So we made it up. We're just outside of Beckley, getting ready to go on 19 North. Tried to run about 75, 80 the whole way. Really was running it coming out of the tunnel there, coming up in the blue field. We started at the bottom at about 55, 60, and we hit the top at 80. Really sucks some fuel coming up these hills, I know that, but we'll see what we get for fuel mileage here and go from there. Gives you an idea what we're hauling. It's a 44-foot toy hauler. There's nothing in it right now. We're coming back from Florida. We just bought this down there, but the lightweight on it's right around 14,000. And then I got some suitcases and stuff like that in there too. There's 3 suitcases and 3 real heavy toolboxes. But other than that, we're pretty much just empty. A little bit of food in there, and that's about it. I got my wife and 2 kids with me, so that gives you an idea of what we've been hauling. We used a total of 36.272 gallons. We went a total of 286.9 miles, and we used 36.272 gallons. That comes out to 7.77 miles per gallon. So we did pick up a little bit. I actually expected it to drop a little bit because of all the hills, even though we were not in tow haul mode, but I'm gonna keep on running just in normal mode because it does seem like we're getting better fuel mileage. Go ahead and reset the trip meter here and we'll keep on rolling. So we're pulling in to get fuel for the last time. This last leg of the trip, we went 212.7 miles, showing 7.7 average miles per gallon. And then the total trip from Florida up to Pennsylvania is 1,054.8 miles, showing we averaged 8.3 miles per gallon. We'll go ahead and fill up and see what the actual hand calculated fuel economy was. Put in our house for the last time. There's a link to this down in the description if you don't know where to get it at. Each bottle treats 300 gallons. We'll go ahead and fill up. Used a total of 29.031 gallons. So our final data is, for the last leg of the trip, we went a total of 212.7 miles, and we used 29.031 gallons. That comes out to an average miles per gallon of 7.32 mile per gallon. Now keep in mind, I was running in normal mode, but we was running through the hills of West Virginia the whole time, and I was running fast. There was actually 3 hills where my RPMs was getting pulled down going up the hills. We'd hit the bottom doing about 80, and then by the time we hit the top, we'd be down at about 75. There was one hill where I actually dropped almost 10 miles per hour. That was at full throttle. For the full trip, we went a total of 1,054.8 miles, and we used a total of 133.639 gallons of diesel fuel. That comes out to 7.89 overall average miles per gallon for the entire trip from when we left Orlando, Florida, and we drove up to Washington, Pennsylvania. So the route we took was, we ran 4 up to 95 in Jacksonville. We took 95 up to Savannah, Georgia, and cut across 26 over to Columbia, Georgia, or that'd be Columbia, South Carolina, actually. And then we ran 77 north out of Columbia. We ran that clear up through Charlotte, up to through Virginia, right to Beckley, West Virginia. In Beckley, we took 19 north up to 79 north, and we ran 79 north clear up into Washington, PA. Down
coming out of Florida up into about Charlotte, it's all pretty much flat, not very many hills, no big hills at all. The thing about it though is down in that area there was a ton of traffic, so it was stop and go, especially down on 95. The northern portion of the trip we was able to just run. Basically, I was trying to maintain about 10 miles over the speed limit. West Virginia, like I mentioned, we was getting bogged down on a few hills, so it's definitely a lot harder running. The first portion of the trip, I don't know if you remember, we was running in tow haul mode, but then I switched it over to normal mode. Now my fuel mileage did slightly drop, but keep in mind that whenever I was running in tow haul mode, it was pretty much flat running. So honestly, I think that the fuel mileage is better in normal mode, as long as you're not carrying such a heavy load that you need tow haul mode. I think the only time you really need that would be local driving, but not 100% sure on that. The truck seemed to handle fine, shift fine, stop fine. So the biggest thing I could notice between tow haul mode and normal mode is it would really like to downshift. Like it would go from like 10th gear down to 7th or 8th gear when you was in tow haul mode, but when you was in normal mode, it would just kind of stay in 10th, maybe downshift to 9th, so you wasn't burning up all that fuel. If you guys like this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the little bell so you know right when we upload future videos. And as always, if you have any ideas for future videos, just drop it down in the comments. Till next time, you guys stay safe out there.